Hello and welcome to windy Northwest Iowa. I'm Liz Ripley, the Conservation and Cover Crop Outreach Specialist with the Iowa Learning Farms. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about relay intercropping, and some of you may be wondering, what is relay intercropping? Well, relay intercropping is the process of having two crops growing simultaneously in the field at the same time. So for example, following corn in this system, we would seed a winter cereal rye or winter wheat. In the fall, post-harvest, in the spring, we'll come in, we'll plant our soybeans into that living rye or wheat. We'll then harvest the small grain rye or wheat and then follow the harvest of soybeans as traditionally done. And then in our system here, for this project in particular, we're going to be using a oat cover crop then ahead of our corn. So in that case, we're getting 3 crops in 2 years: small grain, soybean, corn. So it allows for intensification in a sustainable way because we're essentially keeping living roots in the ground year-round. And this project has a lot of great features, which we'll talk about here as we go along today. Yeah, so this system is going to be a little bit higher risk than a traditional corn and soybeans because we do have these dual crops growing in the field. So some of the risks may be that we have competition out there. When we're harvesting the small grain itself, we want to make sure that we're not clipping off the soybeans, and so that we're getting this system in a way that we're not detrimentally impacting either crop yield, reducing our traffic in the field. All those things could add to increased risk from our traditional corn and soybean system that folks are interested in. But there are ways to de-risk this system. So for example, folks could utilize a skip row when planting the small grain so that there's a dedicated row to planting the soybeans, so you limit that competition. Possibly even harvesting that small grain at an angle to change your traffic pattern in that field, or looking at taller varieties so that way when your small grain reaches maturity, that grain is up higher and you have less risk of clipping off the top of your soybeans. Another way that this has been de-risked is that the USDA RMA, or Risk Management Agency, has now a provision that with a written agreement, folks can get full crop insurance for this kind of relay system. So I encourage you, if you are interested, to make sure you're having that conversation with your crop insurance agent to make sure that you're getting that coverage that you need for your system. So this project in particular is funded by the NRCS. It's got both on-farm demonstrations as well as research farm demonstrations like where we're at today at Gilmore City. We have 6 farmer partners in both eastern and south central Iowa that are utilizing this relay intercropping system. And in that, we're collecting a variety of data, both soil and water, to see what the environmental impacts of this system is, as well as looking at the profitability of these systems. So how can we both intensify our sustainability and make it a profitable system for our producers? So we're looking at those different factors, and we're excited to be sharing those results as we go along. A unique feature of this project is that we're also doing an intense social aspect of it. So we're excited to see the outcomes of that project. So stay tuned for different updates and reports as we go along. But we're just kicking this off, and we're excited to have you all with us today.
I'm Matt Helmers with Iowa State University and Director of the Iowa Nutrient Research Center, and fortunate to be collaborating with the Iowa Learning Farms on this relay intercropping project. Some of the benefits that we might see from the relay intercropping in the area I work on nutrient reduction, by having more things growing on the land, more living cover, we really hope to reduce that nitrate leaching that's coming out of our drainage systems, but really that hasn't been quantified, so we're really excited to look at quantifying that both at this site here at Gilmore City as well as some of the farmer demonstration sites across the state. We're also going to be looking at what are the impacts on soils. So we're looking at some of the soil health metrics and soil aggregate stability kind of at the start of the project, and then 3 years down the road to see if we're improving some of that soil health of these systems, which we think has that potential by having more living roots in the ground, more residue a greater portion of the year. And certainly with the project, we'd be looking at the benefits from the economics for the farmer if they are getting 3 crops harvested in a 2-year period, kind of what that might mean for some of the profitability of their operation. At our Gilmore City site here, this is a drainage water quality site that we've had in place for about 30 years. Been able to look at a lot of different things from nitrogen management to our more traditional cover crops. And so at this site, what we'll be able to look at is how does that relay intercropping under a no-till system compared to a no-till corn soybean without cover crop, or a no-till corn soybean with a cereal rye cover crop. So we can compare those three different systems. The traditional cereal rye or the traditional no-till systems have been in place a while, but that relay intercropping is new. And so, we're pretty excited to see kind of how those three systems compare to one another as we look at different years. So the hope would be we'd do at least 3 years of study here, and maybe we'll be able to get funding to look at it for longer so we can see how it performs both from an environmental standpoint but also a production standpoint under different weather conditions. As Liz kind of talked about, there could be some risks, and in maybe drier years we might be a little worried about does that rye use up some soil moisture that the soybeans might want to have later in the season. And so hopefully we'll have some different weather conditions. We're really hoping that we get some rain. We're going on 4 years of hardly any drainage at this site, so hopefully by putting in this system we'll get some more rain so we can understand the nutrient leaching impacts with that relay intercropping compared to our traditional corn soybean rotation or corn soybean rotation with winter cereal rye. What excites me about relay intercropping is hopefully we get some of the same nitrate reduction benefits of a traditional cover crop, but there may be some economic benefit for the farmer. So one of our challenges, especially as we think about north central Iowa where we're at, we don't have a lot of livestock maybe to graze the cover crop, so there's not necessarily an economic value for our cover crop. There's a lot of other benefits, but maybe not an economic value. So could the relay intercropping provide some economic benefits while still protecting our soil and water resources?